All right, so happy new year, everyone. I'm super excited to be back with you. We do this each year, the last couple of years. And the song, Tracy Ketchens, that was called My Year by my good friend of mine named Sushi, actually. He's from Sacramento, California, lives in Los Angeles now. But look him up, support that song. That's one of the songs that's like my theme throughout the year. It's on my playlist. Whether I'm working out or building my business, like that's definitely a song to get me hyped. So called My Year. So welcome on everyone. Again, thank you. We got folks tuning in from all over the country. If you haven't already shared in the chat where you're tuning in from, go ahead and do so now. My name is Billy Scott. I'll actually go ahead and come on the big screen. So for starters, before we get into the slides. So welcome to this workshop. This is something that we are, basically locked in on doing every single year to start off the new year correctly. How many of you wish things were taught in school about, goal setting or vision and financial literacy and personal growth and self-love, right? And mental health on a deeper level, right? So we wish all these things were taught in school, but the school system's not designed to develop leaders in that sense. In a lot of the principles that create, success, massive success aren't taught in school. And I'm not just talking about success financially, but I mean personally, spiritually, and more. A lot of that stuff's not taught. And so we can't expect to get it from our school system. And so what we do as an organization is we push to fill that void in all of those different areas that I mentioned. And so what we do at the beginning of each year is we take some time out for free to offer this workshop. But I need you to understand, the more you participate in this workshop is going to determine what you get out. We're not here for your entertainment. We're not just here for you to hear a few, good ideas and then just, be motivated. Motivated is temporary. Motivation is like a shower. That makes sense. It means like I'm motivated from the workshop, right? But that motivation will wear off just like a shower will. And so we don't want you to just be motivated. We want you to be inspired. And more importantly, we want you to be educated on how these principles really work. How many of you have ever seen somebody who was wealthy from doing something bad, crime, some kind of crime, or Well, what I found is that no matter who you are, you could be black or white or in between. You can be no matter what your age is. None of that. Guess what? The law of gravity is still the same for you too. If you jump off a building. The law of gravity is going to work out the same way it will for you versus anybody else in the country. Does this make sense? Guess what? The laws of success are the same way. So sometimes you'll see people who've achieved wealth, quote unquote, by using principles the wrong way. So they might have used it for, let's say, drug dealing or something. And now we know long-term the consequences of that, of course. But on the up front, they've used some of these same principles. They just used it in the wrong way to be able to get the things that they were going after. And unfortunately, when you try to take shortcuts, there's consequences for that. And so these laws that we're going to share with you today, these principles are things that work for you to achieve the things that you are set out to achieve in 2022 or beyond. They're laws. It doesn't matter who you are, as long as you apply them, as long as you stick to them. It makes sense? And these principles don't get typically taught, one, they don't get taught in our school system, of course, but two, a lot of times you have to maybe, let's say, read about them, which isn't the same as hearing it from people that have applied it and got the results live. Or two, you have to pay a lot of money to learn these principles from people who've gotten the results from them. Does that make sense? So we want to share these principles for free. A little bit about myself. I've been on this personal growth journey for 18 years. This year in March will be 19 years. Wow. March of 2003 is when I started my journey learning about personal growth. I was born in a city called Oakland, California. Was raised mostly in that area, the Bay Area, between Oakland and a city called Hayward, California, right up the road. And I'm the youngest of 7 siblings. And so I remember making some decisions early on. And like, if I ever learn what successful people did to become successful, if I ever had a chance, I'm going all in. And so somebody, my first mentor, introduced me to the beginning of these principles in 2003. And I stuck it out all ever since. I've applied these different things. I'm still on my own journey. There's a lot of people who are a lot better than me in different areas of life. So there's always new levels, and there's always other people to learn from. I have my own coach and mentors, but what ends up happening is, as you grow, of course, one thing I'll tell you is that it helps, obviously, when you can share the things from your success to help other people. But number two, you learn more by teaching, if that makes sense. It helps you become better. I don't have time to break that down. So I love doing this, but this isn't about me. This is about you today. I'm going to share things from my personal experience, but I want to make sure that you are locked in. Now, here's the thing. You only get one chance to start off 2022 the correct way. I'm gonna say that one more time. You only get one chance to start off this year the correct way. Like when we hit April or May and you got off track or distracted, you don't get to say, oh, I want to do a do-over. The most important commodity that we have as humans is time. Money could be replaced, things can be replaced, all of that, but time is ticking. Tomorrow's not promised. Type a 1 in the chat if over these last year and a half, 2 years, you've come to the conclusion more than ever before that tomorrow's not promised. How many of us have had some major wake-up calls since this year, between this year and last year? And still some people, and I can fall into it sometimes, but not as much as I used to. Still, after all of these different things and challenges and all these different things going on around us, still a lot of us just fall into we become numb to it, and we still treat life a lot of times like it's a dress rehearsal. We treat it like next year's. So some people are going to still be casual about 2022 as if next year is promised. But guess what? Not only is not next year not promised, but next week isn't promised. And that isn't to be pessimistic. I'm one of the most optimistic people there are, but the reality is anything can happen. And so we have to move with a level of urgency. We have to take this kind of environment, this kind of information, we have to take it to heart. A lot of you, type a 2 in the chat if you come from a family where there's just been a history and patterns of generational curses that nobody else has broken through yet. Nobody else has figured it out. And so I learned a long time ago, if it's to be, it's up to me. A lot of you are the person in your family that's been dependent upon it. It only takes one person to change the future trajectory of your last name. And if it's not you, then who else is it going to be? And if it's not now, then when is it going to be? So I need to make sure when you're on here today that you are locked in as a student. And we're only doing this one time this year. Okay. We have other things throughout the year to support your growth and, your personal development and financial literacy and, things like that. But as far as your vision for what you're going to get done this year, you only get one chance to start the year on point, and you got to be locked in. Okay. Another thing is, I have some good news for you, is that it doesn't take 10 years to do big things like it used to 10 years ago. I want to make sure you understand that. See, before 10 years ago, 15 years ago and more, it used to take 5 years, 10 years to do certain things. But because of the kind of resources we have access to, the kind of information we have access to, the environments, and of course, technology, now people can do in 1 year what it used to take 5 years to do. Now, you want to balance that out with also respecting the process of whatever it is that you are going after achieving. Does that make sense? So that doesn't mean try to take shortcuts. If we're speaking financially, that doesn't mean try to, do the whole get rich quick thing, right? You got to respect the process at the same time, but also know that it doesn't have to take a lifetime to go out there and do some amazing things. You know what it takes? It takes focus. It takes consistency. I'll give you a quick story before we get into the slides. I think it was TD Jakes that was talking about this, but he said that, a lot of times people will do something for 10 years and then say that they have 10 years experience, but they only have 1 year progress. Wait, what? Somebody's been doing something for 10 years, but they only have 1 year of progress? How does that work? Well, just because you've been doing something for 10 years doesn't mean you have 10 years experience. A lot of people just have 1 year experience repeated 10 times. So it's not that it has to take 5 years to accomplish something or 10 years to accomplish something. A lot of times we just haven't been committed consistently for 1 year. And when you're committed and consistent for whatever it is you're going after for 1 year, you'd be surprised that you can do in 1 year that the inconsistent person took 10 years to do. And I know that for a fact because I used to be that person. So I want you to take this to heart, because this information combined with the actions you take throughout the year 2022 can make 2022 your best year ever, and that's our goal. So with that said, I want to go ahead and pull up some slides. We're going to start with some basics, but very important basics. Again, more of the stuff that, wow, we were taught this stuff in the year, in our in grade school, in our childhood. We'd be in a different place right now. Right? So again, this is the workshop. Appreciate you guys coming on today. It's sponsored by my merch company, CEO Grind. So y'all didn't have to pay for nothing. And it's all good. So, but follow CEO Grind if you get a chance. We have a lot of inspiring. This shirt right here is from CEO Grind. It says Millionaire Loading. This is one of our shirts. We got a lot of cool stuff, and we got more stuff that'll be released this month, actually, January. Just inspirational gear and stuff. But I want to start off with a quote from Helen Keller, who went out and achieved amazing things in her life in spite of her challenges of being blind and other challenges that she had. And when somebody asked her about how important vision was, she said, "I'd rather be blind with no sight than to have sight with no vision." In other words, she was able to accomplish more than most people who have physical sight, but they didn't have vision. They just took things day by day. They just kind of went through life like a ship with no rudder to steer them in the right direction. So the average person has sight, but no vision. She had vision, but no sight, and was able to accomplish more than the average human being. And so that's a great quote to start off the importance and the power of vision today, for us to really understand. And, let me ask you a question. Let me double check something. What is the difference between vision and goals? Let's talk about that. And for some of this, I'm going to go off camera because I'm going to want you guys to focus on 100% on what we're talking about on the screen. But what's the difference between vision and goals? So we can understand that as we, again, extract from today. The first thing is that when it comes to vision is the end game, the big picture. Goals is the breakdown of things you're going to accomplish on the way to your vision. Does that make sense? So goals are the breakdown of your vision. It's the journey. And that's why, again, you got to fall in love with the journey. There's a lot of things that come with the journey that you didn't sign up for. It's going to be some challenging times. It's going to be some tests. It's going to be some trials. There's going to be things that you did not ask for on the way to your vision, but are necessary on the way to your vision. What do I mean by necessary? Well, there was a kid that went to his father one day and he said, "Dad, look what I found." And he showed him in his hand. He had a butterfly. The butterfly was alive, but wasn't flying away. It was just sitting in the boy's hand. And at first the dad was like, "That's really cool." But then he noticed that the butterfly couldn't fly. And he's like, "Well, what's wrong with it?" The son said, "I don't know." The dad said, "Well, where did you find it?" He said, "Let me show you." So he took him to the backyard and he found the cocoon where the butterfly came out of. And he said, "I found it right there. I saw the cocoon moving and I saw a little hole and I could tell the butterfly was trying to get out. And so I thought I would help it out. And I went ahead and just finished opening the cocoon and I took the butterfly out and I helped it." And then his dad said, son, I realized, now I know why it's not flying. He said, son, the way that the butterfly develops the strength in order to fly is by struggling to get out of the cocoon. So when it's struggling and using its wings to break out, that's how the butterfly becomes strong enough to fly. But because you removed it from its process too early, it doesn't have the strength to fly. So a lot of times when we're going through different things and we get tested when we're going after things or we are in pursuit of our vision, we think a lot of the things that are happening to us are happening to us. But the truth is, a lot of these things are happening for us. Because if you get to a place that requires you to be strong, but you didn't go through but you went through a weak process, you won't be able to sustain the thing that you're asking for. Does that make sense? All right. So new mindset, new results. Let's get into it. So because of this, I want to start off talking a little bit about goals. We're not going to go spend too much time on the goal setting part, but we are going to talk about goals because it's important for, again, you to understand how goals work and how important they are in order for you to pursue and achieve the things that you want in the bigger picture. Okay. So, okay, when it comes to screenshot all these, feel free to screenshot them. It's all good. But when it comes to goal setting, there's 6 different areas of life. Okay. There's 6 different areas of life. And by the way, if you're wondering how long are we going to be, we're going to be about an hour and a half more. But even if it took a little bit longer, how many of you would agree that it's worth investing a couple of hours for more chances of a successful year? That makes sense? What if it took you 5 hours? What if this was a 5-hour workshop? You know, a lot of people will complain about that. 5 hours, man, I got stuff to do. What, the same stuff as 2021? How did that work out for you? Because this is the difference of what makes, you know, creates the results that you're looking for. A lot of times, the same person is not complaining about going to work for 8 hours every day or more, every day, 40 hours a week. And I'm not knocking that. What I'm saying is, why don't we complain about going to somewhere to build somebody else's dream? But when somebody's willing to invest in us to help us build our own dream, it's an inconvenience. You got to look at that mindset. That's probably the first thing that you need to change coming into the new year. So, going to be about another hour and a half or so. My goal is to finish up by 6 o'clock Pacific. Guess what? I got stuff to do too. I'm just kidding. I don't really, actually. I just got to eat, you know, in a little while, and then hang out with the family. That's about it. I left today reserved for this, and so forth. So, all right, so let's talk about it. The reason why this is important is because today we're going to talk on the vision piece. Is going to be things you can apply to every area of your life, not just finances, but all 6 areas on this screen. And I want you to imagine that your life is broken up into these 6 different areas on the screen. Okay, so how many of you are looking for balance? You know, it's important to have balance, right? Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about this, just a little bit. But there's 6 areas of your life that you need to make sure you're giving attention to and that you're growing in, and these are the 6 areas. And so in no particular order, you have the physical area, which is your health and nutrition. Okay, type of 1 in the chat if you agree that it's important for us to make a commitment to our health and nutrition. Right, Mike Jeter, Mike stay in the gym, that man be on it, right? So should have moved closer to him. Anyway, all right, physical health and nutrition, okay? That's one area. Then you have your social life. This is important to make sure that you are experiencing life. You're experiencing new people, new places, new culture. This is important. And I'm gonna tell you how this ties into what you are on track to achieve in your life this year or not. Okay, next is mental. All right, your mental area of your life, mental health, and also your personal growth. What goes in your mind comes out in your reality. So garbage in, garbage out. We'll talk about that in a minute. Financial, okay, financial and career. How is, that's another area of your life. Obviously, that's very important and it affects everything else, okay? Family and home. Is that important? Absolutely, right? So it's important for you to be intentional about the things that the areas, the ways that you want to improve in your home and family life. And then number 6 is it says ethics and beliefs. So that also includes your spirituality. All right. If you're spiritual, these are the 6 areas of life. I like to call 5 of them the 5 F's, which is faith, family, fitness, fun, and then your social life. All right. Oh no, that's the fun part. Sorry, your mental or your personal growth, right? So faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun, and then you have your personal growth, right? So, but it's the same thing as these 6 areas here on the screen. Now, why is it in a wheel like this? Imagine this wheel was like a wheel that you are riding a bike on or driving a car on. And your goal in each of these 6 areas, imagine each of these 6 areas, each of these 6 spokes were numbered from the middle of the wheel to the outside of that spoke, out on that, going out towards the edge of the wheel, and it's numbered 0 through 10. So take one spoke and imagine you give yourself a number. Let's say number 2 or 3. Let me actually show you here with the pointer. So let's say this spoke right here where the red pointer is a number for physical, part of your life. On a scale of 1 to 10, how have you been over the last 90 days in that area of your life? Oh, sorry. And let's say I've been a 3. So you put a little mark right there. What about your social life? You're like, oh, social life been lit. Been going out every weekend. Right? Or whatever, right? Your social life, you're having fun, you're doing too much probably. Anyways, I'm just kidding. So now you're in number 7. So you mark that, and that's maybe a number 7. What about your mental health and your growth? Have you been growing? Have you been reading, positive material, maybe investing in your personal growth or finding mentors or, how has that been? And then that area might be, let's say, number 4. And then you check your financial area. How have you been in terms of earning money and managing money and learning investing and growing money? And okay, and then you rate that. My point is, after you put a mark and rate yourself how you've been in each of these areas, what you do is draw a line to connect each of those spokes. And what you're going to notice, a lot of this is crooked. And if you had a car with 4 wheels that looked like those lines, you probably wouldn't be going anywhere fast. That makes sense? But the good news is it shows you visually exactly where you are in each of those 6 areas. And your goal is not to pressure yourself to try to be a 10 in all 6 of those areas, but your goal is to be growing in all 6, eventually to become balanced in all 6. I would rather be a 5 in all 6 of these areas than a 10 in my finances, but a 2 in everything else, like my health and everything else. So your goal is to grow in all areas, eventually become a more balanced in all areas. But here's the deal. Balance is not necessarily a myth, but when you are somebody who's very ambitious and you got bigger goals, you have to be willing to get out of balance so you can earn balance. Does that make sense? Balance has to be earned. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes I might have to go harder on on my career to put myself in a position to have more flexibility. Does this make sense? So just understand that sometimes it requires to get out of balance so you can put yourself in a position where you have the freedom where you have earned more balance. All right. So hopefully you guys got that. Again, this is all being recorded, so you'll have access to it afterwards. Now, 6 steps to goal setting. So how do I set goals in these 6 different areas of life? Here you are right here. These 6 principles are principles that have been proven for almost 100 years. Straight out of the book, Think and Grow Rich. These are the same 6 principles I use every month. Same 6 principles I've been using for over 15 years. Number 1, your goals must be written. They must be written. In 2022, a lot of people are going to set what they call New Year's resolutions, something that gets them excited and motivated. And by February, Most people won't be thinking about them because it's not that they don't really want those goals. They just never were taught proper goal setting. So if your goals are not written down, it's just a wish. So number one, it must be written. Number two, they must be specific. You got to be clear. You can't say, I want to make more money this year than I did last year. Nope, you got to choose a specific number. You can't say, I want to lose weight. No, a specific number. Okay? Your goals must be specific. I want a new car. No, you got to get clear on what car, what color. Get specific. All right? I want to move. Okay, where? What neighborhood? Apartment, house, condo? Like, you got to get very clear. All right. Be specific. Number three, set a date on your goals. You got to give yourself a deadline. If you don't choose a deadline or a date for your goal, then you'll keep putting it out into the future. Next thing you know, the next year is going to come around and you're setting the same goal. So you got to set a date. Number four, you have to make a plan. Okay? You have to make a plan. So your plan, write this down. This is important for you to know. A lot of people are like, how do I make a good plan for something I've never done before? That's the point. It doesn't need to be a good plan. And we don't expect you to have the perfect plan how are you going to have a perfect plan to achieve something you've never done before? It doesn't work that way. Write this down. Your first plan is your worst plan. By the way, this applies to all areas of life. If I'm looking to become more fit, my plan is I need to start doing something. Jim Rohn said, when you make a decision to get back in shape, drop on the floor and do 5 push-ups to convince yourself you're serious about it. How many people decide, all right, I'm about to get back in shape, but I'm gonna get to it next week. And then next week, you know what I mean? Turns into next year. So you have your first plan has to be some simple actions you can take right now. Maybe you're looking to start a new business. Maybe you're looking at whatever the case. Okay, I don't know how to start that business. Never done it before. I just know I want to start a clothing design company. Okay, well, first step number one in your plan, go to Google. How much Step number two, go to YouTube. All right, you guys. Step three, find out who's on social media that did exactly what you're looking to do. Follow them, right? I mean, like, it doesn't take much to put a plan together. All right, so you must have a plan. Your first plan is going to be your worst plan, but as you go, guess what? There's a concept called plan, do, review. So you plan, you go out and take some actions, you do some actions, and then every 30 days or every 90 days, you review your plan and make the necessary adjustments. And then you go out and then adjust your plan, do review, and then plan, do review, plan, do review. That makes sense? That's how you improve your plan over time. Don't worry about having the perfect plan to start. All right, number 5, you must pay the price. The counter of success requires full price, no discounts. You got to be willing to pay the price. Here's part of paying the price. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to put on hold? What are you willing to postpone until you get the thing that you're going after? The law of sacrifice says you must be willing to give up in order to go up. So what has been costing you your goals or even your dreams? Some of us have had been sitting on 6-figure potential or more, but we're throwing all the time away. The time that should be going into us developing in that goal, we've been giving it all to social media or TV or video games. All right. Or spending more time with people who have our problems than we're spending with the people who have our solutions. So sometimes it's the people that's been holding us back. Sometimes it's the environments. Write this down. The people, I wasn't even going to talk about this yet, but the people you're around and the places you spend your time account for 85% of the things you do and the way you feel. We'll get into all of that in just a little bit. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So sometimes the 5 people we spend the most time with are the most comfortable because they reflect our current circumstances. Because they're going through the same thing and it's comfortable, right? But guess where successful people live? They live outside of their comfort zone. If you're the most successful person in your circle, you are headed backwards. You are in trouble. If the 5 people you hang around the most are struggling and toxic, you're going to be the 6th one. It is just the way it is. You're going to do what they do. You're going to talk like they talk. You're going to, you're going to pick up, you're going to watch what they watch. You're going to listen to what they listen to. You're going to go where they go. It's just the way it is. But here's the good news. If the 5 people that you spend the most time with are successful or goal achieving or focused or ambitious and so forth, guess what? You're going to become the 6th one. So sometimes when we talk about pay the price and sacrifice, sometimes it's people, sometimes it's environment, sometimes it's habits. But you got to identify that, and you have to be honest with yourself. The beginning of change is honesty. All right. TD Jakes, I shared this story. Some of you, might be familiar, but they did a skit, and it was a guy, and he was on one side of this door that was open, and on the other side of the door was his blessings and everything he had been asking for. So he can see it, and the door is open, but he could not get through the door. He didn't understand why, and he's questioning. And he finally said, God, why would you allow me to see these things but not actually have them? And he said, you can see it because you have everything that it takes to get them, but you're trying to bring other people through the door with you that don't deserve them. So until you let them go, you can't go through the door either. So what are you willing to give up? Number 6, you got to view your goals daily. You got to keep them in front of you. See, shout out Adriana Nilsson, one of our vice presidents and business partners. She hosted just 2 days ago a dream board workshop, right, on Zoom. We had a lot of fun. A lot of people got their dream boards done. But you got to view your goals daily, whether they're written or if you create a vision board or a dream board, which has the pictures of all the things that you're going after and achieving. You have to have your goals in front of you daily. Let me tell you on a deeper level, the human brain, adults, have tens of thousands of thoughts per day going through our mind. Most of them are negative, not because the things that we are seeing all around us are mostly negative. So if you write your goals in your notebook, close the notebook, and think you're going to achieve those things you wrote down, it's not going to happen. Out of sight is out of mind. You have to become obsessed with your goals. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But my point is, you got to write them somewhere you can see them every single day. You got to, when you wake up, you want your goals to be right there. When you're brushing your teeth, put it on the mirror. Like put it, if you need to put a 3x5 card on your dashboard, if you put a 3x5 card with your goals in your wallet, every time you open and close your wallet, like it's right there. Like you need to surround yourself with your goals. It's planting seeds. It's consistently working on your subconscious mind. And when it says view it daily, you should be viewing it at least twice a day. The beginning of the day to start your day with your focus, and at the end of the day before you go to sleep. The last things that you focus on before you go to sleep is determining how you sleep, what your subconscious mind is thinking about when you sleep, and it's also determining how the next day starts. So if you're ending your day with negativity or just, entertainment or drama or scary movies or whatever, the news is very unhealthy mentally for you, and it's taking you off track. It's taking you away from the things that you're looking to achieve. So view your goals at least twice a day. Make sure they're written and you see them consistently, okay? All right, awesome. Now, let's talk about success, okay? Write this down, screenshot it. Success is 90% mindset and 10% skill set. 90% mindset, 10% skill set. So first of all, what is success? That's a good question. Is success money? No. Is success, it's not any one thing. So before we could even move forward and talk about vision and how to be successful in 2022, we need to be on the same page of what success is. And the best definition of success I've ever heard is from Earl Nightingale on The Strangest Secret. and I write that down. I encourage you to look that up, not right now, but later. The Earl Nightingale, okay, one of the legends of personal growth. He did a video. It's in black and white. That's how old this thing is, but it's called The Strangest Secret. And he said the definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This is big. See, they didn't talk like this where I went to school. I went to school at high school at a school called Tennyson High School in Hayward, California. They didn't use what? Oh, success is the progressive. What progressive? I didn't even know what that meant in high school. The progressive realization. That was too many syllables. Realization. That's a lot of a worthy ideal. What is an ideal? Like I didn't grow up hearing this kind of language. But there is a language and laws that go along with success. And this is some of it. So what did he mean by that? When he said that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, what he meant, what he was saying was that success is the process or progress of taking something from an ideal or idea to reality. That is success. Whether that's finances or anything else. That's success. Me hitting my fitness goal, that's success. Me growing in any of those 6 areas of life, me taking a goal that I set and progressing over time to the result that I desired, that is success. So that is success. So guess what? You should be celebrating progress. Here's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. I think it was Michelle Miller that posted it that I saw first. She said that, I forgot how the post worded it, but she said that the biggest mistake you can make for 2022 is by focusing on all the things that didn't go well in 2021. Guess what you're going to get more of in 2022? You're going to get more of what you focus on. What you focus on, you attract. So if you're focused on all the things that didn't go your way, all the things that didn't go well, all the things you messed up on, if that's what you're focused on, guess what you're going to attract more in 2022? Things that don't go your way, right? You get more of what you focus on. That is the law of attraction. Okay? So guess what I would encourage you to do? The problem is when you do that is, if you do that, that when you're focused on that so much, you almost psych yourself out to believe that you didn't do anything well because you're not even thinking about the things that did go well. But if you actually just take a step back and actually ask yourself what went well, you can come up with a whole list of things. And when I learned that concept, that's when I was introduced to the concept of gratitude. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So success is 90% mindset, 10% skill set. Now, as we prepare to go into the rest of this, again, just about an hour, a little over an hour left that I want to get through this. I'm going to come off the screen. I want you to focus 100% on the content. I want you to do a couple of things. One, take notes, as many notes as you can. But two, what I also want you to do is take a page that you have and leave a page just for action steps alone. So if you hear a book, can you guys hear me? Am I breaking up? Okay. All right. Is it breaking up still? Is better? All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Let me know because I'm in, it's not that good signal here. So, all right. So what I was saying is that before we continue, take a page just for action steps that you want to, that are going to be most important for you to apply immediately when we're done here. Okay. So But I'm going to go ahead and go off camera now. I want you guys to focus. I'll come back on later. And I want you all to focus on these principles, because we are going to go deep, and it's going to be very valuable for your 2022. So let me make sure I have everything so far. Let's see. Boom. Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So now, as we go through the rest of the workshop, you've learned so far the difference between vision and goals, the importance of vision, how to set goals in the 6 areas of life. You learned about balance. What I want to now shift to as we go through the rest of the workshop is that I want to, out of those 6 areas, today we're going to be focusing more on finances. Now, is money everything? No, I didn't say that. But how many of you would agree that it ranks up there with oxygen and water? It's pretty important, you know what I'm saying? And also, how many of you would agree that if you took 10 of your top challenges in your life right now, if you had a big enough check, you can wipe out 8 of them? Type a 1 in the chat if you agree. And this goes to show that majority of our challenges can go back to finances. Money is not everything. But don't devalue money so much that you create a bad relationship with money. What do I mean by that? Well, some people been repeating their whole life, money's not important. Money's not that important. Money this, money that, money's not important. Let me ask you a question. If you kept repeating to your spouse that they are not important after so many years, what do you think would happen? Right. Your money does the same thing. So my point is, some of the things that you've been saying over and over or thinking over and over towards money has developed a bad relationship with money. And guess what? You repel money and money continues to leave you. So I believe, so we're all clear as we move forward. And I just got to kind of share these things because some of us have different feelings about money that, again, these principles are going to be applicable to all the things you want to achieve. So don't worry about that. But money is just the most simplistic way to apply these things. And again, a lot of the challenges that people are dealing with are money. And so I'm a big believer in 2 things. That one, money is an amplifier of who you are. If you're a good person and you get more money, we are happy because we know that you're going to take that money and make a positive impact and help others. But if you're a bad person and you get more money, you going to jail. No, I'm just playing. A bad person who gets more money is they have the money and resources to make worse decisions. All right. So, and this is why it's so important that we put emphasis in our organization that people grow, not just their bank accounts, but grow their character. So we can develop leaders to go out there and make more impact. So, all right. All right. So here's another thing. Let's get back into this. Now, when it comes to mindset versus skill set, guess what? Success is 90% spiritual, believe it or not. That's why a lot of the things that govern success or progress or finances are invisible, because it's spiritual. A lot of the things that might have been holding you back from progressing in your, financial, your career with your finances are invisible. 90% is intangible. Only 10% of success is the stuff that you can see. So this is important for us to know as we move forward, because we're going to address these things and talk about how to, excel in both areas in 2022. Here's another thing. Because it's 90% intangible or invisible or spiritual, without the ingredients that we're going to talk about today, You can acquire all the skills you want to, and it still won't work. Not long term. You ever felt like that? I know I can do more, be more. I know I'm worth more. I got skills. I'm pretty smart. I'm a nice person, but why isn't it working out for me the way that I want it? And it's because there's some, maybe just 1, 2, 3 principles that are things you cannot see that you haven't implemented or haven't implemented consistently. And then how many of you have seen the opposite? How many of you have seen people that it seems like no matter what they do, they achieve everything? Like things just flow to them. Money's never an issue. Like they're just attracting amazing things every day in every way, right? And it's because they've done the work internally. Some of us were blessed enough to where we were raised on these principles. And so we're just in alignment. We're in sync with the things we're asking for. I'm saying we, I'm not one of them. I wasn't raised like that. But there are some people who had an upbringing that naturally ingrained these kinds of principles with them. And so they just kind of float through life, it seems like. Now, everybody still has their challenges, but I'm talking about as far as finances or some of their goals or their career, things just, happen for them for the most part. All right. So now that we got this down, now we can get into the 4 basics of success. This is what's going to be important for you to master going into the brand new year. And number 1 of 4 is this question that is powerful, and you need to know the answers to going into the brand new year. So question number 1 is, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? So going into 2022, who are you listening to? What I mean by that is what goes in must come out. So if you are spending majority of your time with people who only have your problems and not your solutions, guess what? That's who you're listening to. And guess what's going in? It's more stuff that's contributing to continue that same pattern, more problems, no solutions. So it's extremely important for us to identify listening to someone or people that have your solutions. Anybody that you know that's achieved anything great had somebody that they were listening to. They had a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. How many of you seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan? See, I don't know if you caught it, but when Michael Jordan stopped playing for the Bulls, it wasn't because he was ready to stop playing basketball, which is why he ended up coming back twice, right? So why did he stop? You know why? Because they were firing his coach. And he's like, if my coach isn't here, then it's not gonna, who am I gonna listen to? When they said that Phil Jackson wasn't gonna come back the next year, he was like, I'm out. That's how important it is to identify somebody who can lead you to success. Why is this question so important? Because on your journey, there's going to be a whole lot of voices. There's going to be a whole lot of opinions. How many of you know people that haven't achieved what you want, but they're still willing to give you their opinion of what you should do, shouldn't do, could do? See, in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill said it best. He said that the number 1 reason why most people fail in life is because they buy the opinions of their friends, family, and neighbors. The challenge with that is that we might have some friends, a few friends, family, neighbors that have become successful in the thing that we're looking to become successful in, then that makes sense. But here's where it becomes challenging. When those other 2 types of people give us their opinion, but haven't produced results. Who are the other 2? The people that love us and the people that sound smart. Dang. So when you're going after your goals in 2022, and then the person that loves you says, you shouldn't do that. You should just stick to the traditional route, or you should do something different. That could be triggering. But guess what? Love doesn't pay bills. No, I'm just playing. We're not gonna go that hard today. No, here's the point though. Love does not have anything to do with results. What do I mean by that? Okay, well, let me give you another one. You're gonna have a lot of people who give you advice that sounds smart and they sound like they know what they're talking about. In fact, they've probably been smart their whole life. You've probably known them your whole life and you know them from being smart. And so when they give you advice about your journey towards success, it's hard not to listen to them because they've been smart for so long. Why would I stop listening to them now? I'll tell you why. Because if they haven't produced the results in that particular area that you're going after, it doesn't matter how smart they sound. Okay? There was a story about Jesus stopping on the road and he saw a fig tree and he asked, does that fig tree have any figs? Which is an important question if it's a fig tree. And the answer was no. And he got upset and said, uprooted. What is my point? He said, is it producing fruit? And that's how I've learned to decipher who makes sense to follow, who I should be listening to, in conjunction with all the other dozens or hundreds of voices that will have something to say on my journey. Have they produced the results that I'm looking for? Okay, they haven't. I respect them. They're a cool person. You know what I mean? But as far as coaching me and leading me, I'm sorry, but I have to follow somebody who's produced what I'm looking for. Otherwise, everybody sounds good and smart. And let me tell you one last thing about the people who love us. A lot of times, as you hear some of them telling, especially the ones that tell us over and over that we shouldn't do the thing that we are trying to do, some of them will start to sound like a hater. Anybody had that? Friends, family, somebody around you sounds like a hater? Like, man, these haters, they hating. Actually, if they really love us, usually they're not coming from a hating position and they're not a hater. They're actually trying to be a protector. And you need to know the difference. Because there's some real haters out there, but then there's protectors. And what happens is, I heard Jay-Z the other day talking about his uncle. And his uncle was like, what? You think man, you can't sell 1 million records? Because he knew when Jay-Z was starting in his career, like to make real money or become a millionaire, you got to sell 1 million records. And Jay-Z said, man, now I sold 1 million records 1 million times. He said, my uncle, it wasn't that he didn't want me to be successful. It was just that he couldn't sell 1 million records and he was projecting his limitations on me. So he thought because he couldn't do it, that he should try to protect me from wasting my time for trying to do it. And it wasn't that I couldn't do it, he couldn't do it. So know the difference between haters and protectors, okay? So who are you going to listen to in 2022? Everybody who knows me knows who my coach is. And guess what? When it comes to choosing the right coach, there's no discrimination. If they got the results, they've helped other people and more. My coach is 10 years younger than me. Okay? Alfred Nixon is very clear. People know who my coach is. Now, a few more things on this page. I want to take it a little bit deeper. I don't want you to just listen to them. Here's another deeper way of asking the question. Who are you going to submit to? And I use that word specifically because submit could be a triggering word, right? Submit, what you mean? I ain't nobody's slave. That's not what we're talking about. Relax. What do I mean by submit? Submit means that you're going to follow their guidance even when you don't feel like it. How many of you have ever played sports and sometimes your coach told you to do something that you didn't feel like doing or you didn't agree with? But at the end of the day, you knew as a person on that team that the coach wanted the same thing for you that you wanted. The coach wanted a championship too. So why would they tell you anything that's going to hurt you or the team? So that's what submitting means. Don't just listen for the things that are convenient and comfortable, but are you going to still follow their guidance when it's uncomfortable? Because that's the difference between successful people and everybody else. Successful people just do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. Successful people live outside of their comfort zone. So sometimes the person that's your coach or your mentor is going to be somebody who asks you to do something that you don't understand. It doesn't make sense logically, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. How many of you remember Karate Kid? Daniel's son was like, dude, you got me sanding fences and waxing car. What the heck does this have to do with what I came to you for? His vision, right? And he's like, wax on, wax off. And he was like, man, what the? He's frustrated, didn't understand. Went to the tournament and kicked butt with exactly those same moves that he didn't understand. All right, I'm using movie references, showing my age. We'll keep it moving. All right, so again, who you choose or who you submit to has to be somebody that has the results, okay? It also has to be somebody that you trust. It's very important. Has to be somebody that you trust. Soon as the trust is questioned, then you'll question everything about their advice or their leadership. So this is very important, okay? Very important. So here's the challenge. Who do I go to for this mentorship or this coaching? Like, where do I go? Who are these people? I don't know. It depends on what you're in pursuit of. But what I can tell you, here's some good news for you. Because sometimes the coaches and mentors aren't immediately available, or people charge you and different things. So maybe you're not in a position to immediately get their coaching or their guidance, right? So, or sometimes it's just they're busy and you got to earn their time. So I get all of that. Guess what? Some of my first mentors were authors of books. I learned to read 10 pages a day or listen to 30 minutes a day of an audiobook. And I could get through at least one book a month or sometimes once a week. And guess what? These people that wrote these books are people that took their whole life to figure things out. And then they put everything they learned into a book that I can read in 30 days. So I don't have to take my whole life figuring it out. So sometimes your first mentors or coaches are positive books. Okay. Then over time, guess what? Through some of the other principles we're going to talk about, you're going to be able to attract the mentors, the coaches, and place yourself in environments that can help you progress in your journey. Okay. All right. Let's see something right quick. All right. So now, before we progress to the other three principles, we want to talk about establishing your vision for 2022. Establishing your vision. Now, since we're talking about money, and if you're an entrepreneur or not now in 2022, but first I'm going to talk to the people that are entrepreneurial. If you're an entrepreneur, you're in business, or going to be in business, when we talk about establishing your vision, the minimum goal that I require for you to go, for you to really maximize this principle is $10,000 a month. Write that down. So we're talking about establishing your vision right now. $10,000 a month. Why? Because there's a lot of jobs that you can get that can pay that amount of money or close to it. So if you're going to be in business, why get into business to just make the same amount of money you can make working a regular job? Like, if you're going to do it, go big, right? And $10,000, how many of you agree? Type a 5 in the chat. At $10,000 a month is not what it used to be anyways. Yeah, we're still on who are you listening to before we go into I'm preparing to go into the second one, right? $10,000, a lot of you have already earned that income. Some of you are at more. By the way, we're talking a minimum of $10,000 a month in 2022 needs to be your goal. If you're already there, then obviously you adjust this to a bigger goal. By the way, if you're not a business owner or entrepreneur and you are a regular employee, but you want to improve your finances, still make this your minimum goal. Because that might happen through either starting a business, a side gig, or investments and crypto and right. So don't worry about how it's going to happen. We're not there yet. But write down $10,000 a month. Now, guess what? This is also going to help you in deciding who you should be listening to. Why? Because it's one thing to listen to somebody who earns $10,000 a month themselves. It's a completely different thing to listen to somebody who's mastered helping other people earn $10,000 a month. See the difference? I know a lot of people who have become financially successful themselves, but have not helped anybody else be able to do it. And it's, maybe that's not their purpose. So I'm not knocking them for it. I'm just saying that's probably not the coach that you should choose. For example, if I am in real estate, anybody in real estate, type a 5 in the chat if you're in real estate. Okay. If I'm in real estate, okay, doesn't it make sense for me, if I'm going to work with a broker, to choose a broker that's already helped other people achieve the goals I want? Like if my goal is to make $100,000 a year in real estate or $250,000 or whatever your goals are, doesn't it make the most sense to choose a broker or a team or a company has developed a massive number of 6-figure income earners or whatever my goal is? Or does it make sense for me to choose the broker that had the best smile? I'm just, right? Or the broker because they're close, they're closer to, to my area. It's convenient. No, results. So whatever it is you're doing, whether it's real estate or anything else, who you choose as a coach, it's important to check their track record of how many people that they've helped win. I've been in that trap for 10 years before, following a coach that was a great person. All right. But the results were not. So I'm telling you from experience. So now we are prepared to go to number 2. How coachable and teachable are you? It doesn't matter if your coach is great, if you're not coachable. What does that word mean? Coachable. Well, let's do it backwards. It means you're able to be coached. How coachable or teachable are you? Here's a question that's going to help you with that. What is your willingness to learn multiplied by your willingness to change? Okay, I see a couple hands raising. I'll see if we have time at the end to open up for questions. If you have a question, write it down and we'll try to open it up at the end and get those questions answered. All right. So what is your willingness to learn multiplied by your willingness to change? Because success in anything is going to require both. What is your willingness, again, to learn times your willingness to change? Guess what? Most people, majority of people have things that they need to change before they can break through. A lot of us we continue to pursue our next level of success without confronting the thing that's holding us back. So usually the things that's holding you back is things that we can't see that you're dealing with. Usually only you know about it. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm gonna say it one more time. First of all, usually the things that's holding you back from your next level is the stuff we can't see. Stuff you're dealing with on a personal level, but it needs to be addressed before you can expect to reach your next level. Here's the first place that you should look. Is your daily routine. John C. Maxwell said the clues to our success or to our failure is hidden in our daily routine. And the things you're spending your time on is going to show you clearly, very clearly, if you're willing to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, what's holding you back. Sometimes it's simple things, laziness, right? We're not setting goals, you know. Sometimes it's things like pride. Then it could go on a deeper level. It could be trauma that you haven't addressed. It could be attachment to things in your past that you haven't completed and confronted to release and let go of completely. And as long as you have an attachment to things of your past, it won't release you to move into your future. It could be certain habits that you have. It could be addictions. You have to figure out what it is. And most of the time, you know what it is by just looking at your daily routine. The problem is because it's invisible to us on the outside, you have to be willing to confront it. Beatrice said time management. So time management is one thing, but a lot of times what you'll find a lot of times that time management is really, that's just a symptom. A lot of times not time management. A lot of times it's avoidance behavior, which is based on fear, which is usually really the cause of the issue. That's the root cause. What do I mean by that? Well, time management. It's not that we don't have the time, because we have the same amount of time in a day, a week, and a month that Oprah does. So why can't Oprah do so much? What has us so busy? When we think about the 168 hours a week that we have, is it that we don't have the time, or that we use the free time that we have to keep us busy and occupied? We find ways to hide from the responsibilities that will take us on track to our goals, and then another day goes by. It's usually not time management. Time is already managed for us. It's broken down into seconds and minutes and hours and days and weeks and months and years. The time is already managed. It's priority management that is usually the challenge. And I'm not sure if that's the case for you guys that type that, but I'm just telling you, 99% of the time when people think time management is the issue, oh yeah, see, Mato says self-management, right? So it's usually a priority issue or avoidance behavior. So what do I mean by that? You got 8 hours in a day, of sleep on average, 8 hours, per, if you get the 8 hours of sleep, but 8 hours, say you work 8 hours and then you got commute time and whatever, eating time, you still have at least 5 hours a day. Okay, let's just say 5 hours a day that you can put towards goal achievement, whatever your goals are. And if you multiply that by 6 days a week, if you're pursuing your goal 6 days a week, some of you 7 days a week, right? That's 30 hours a week. So you can't tell me you don't have the time to pursue your goals. And I understand if you got kids, I get it. I get it. But 30 hours, okay, let's cut that in half. You spend 15 of those hours towards, kids and everything. All right, cooking and all right, cool. Still got 15 hours a week left. Guess what? That's 60 hours a month. What if you actually committed, locked in part-time, spare time to whatever the thing is that you're going after? 60 hours a month, 720 hours a year. You can't tell me that you wouldn't see massive progress towards your goals. But you know what most people do with that 15 to 30 hours a week? What Brian Tracy said. Successful people use their free time to do things that are goal achieving, while everybody else uses their free time to do things that are just tension relieving. That's the difference. It's the small decisions. It's the, I'll get to it till tomorrow. It's that little decision added up over time, taking those that will kill your dreams. It's that $10. Oh, it's cool. I could just use this towards another pack of cigarettes, repeated over time, that turned into thousands of dollars that is killing your goals. It's the $50 going, to the club too often the hundreds of dollars toward thousands towards the video games. And I'm not judging any of these. What I'm doing right now is I'm being a real friend, because maybe some of the 5 people you spend the most time with aren't willing to tell you yourself. Jared says sneakers. Absolutely. I'm not judging you. I'm being a real friend, because a real friend tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Some of us have people around us that saw these things and didn't say nothing all 2021. It's those small decisions. Thousands of dollars on weed. I'm not judging. I'm from California. But when it's costing your dream, I'm against that. When it's been $30,000 a year for the last 10 years, and that $300,000 could have went towards your down payment on your house, or starting your own business, or putting your kids in a better position, I have a problem with that. It's the little things. Write this book down. It's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And it talks about all of these. Small decisions is costing us our dreams. Here's the problem with it. It doesn't cost us anything in the act of doing it. For example, you walk in Burger King tomorrow, and this is assuming some of you eat Burger King and stuff like that, right? You walk into Burger King, and you walk in, man, I'm feeling hungry. Burger King's convenient. They make your burgers your way. Is that what it's called? Whatever, right? And you walk in, you see somebody else just got their burger before you order. They take a bite of the burger and pass out off of one bite. You got a decision to make. Are you still going to be like, dang, sucks for him? Can I get a number 3? No, you are going to leave. Why? Because you saw an immediate negative result from that burger, that bite of that burger. But why do we still eat Burger King or some of these unhealthy choices? Because it's the burgers that do that to people, but it's not one bite. It's consistently making that choice over and over and over again that leads to health issues. So that's the problem with success and failure. Failure comes from multiple errors of judgment repeated over time. It's not one error in judgment. It's multiple small decisions over time that leads to failure. $10 here, $50 here, $100 here, right? Bad food choice here, bad. All of that over time is what leads to our health condition, our financial position, issues with our family, and everything else. But guess what? Here's the good news. The same exact pattern works for success. Healthy choices repeated over time, consistently, small decisions over time. But that small error in judgment, like, oh, I could skip the gym today, or that small error in judgment, I could take the day off. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get back to my plan and my goals tomorrow. Turns into the next day, turns into the next day, turns into a whole year, and boom, we wake up and we're in the same position or worse than we were a year before. That's it. So this is why it's important for us to have a coach or, a mentor. And by the way, you're gonna, there might be multiple mentors, but usually you only have about one coach. Here's why it's important to know the difference. Mentors can also be helpful. They can offer value. They can help you on your journey. They say mentors are like a GPS system, right? That's cool. They can help you. The problem is if you have too many coaches, then you're listening to different voices. And then if those coaches say anything that's different from the other coach, now you're in a state of confusion and you don't know which way to go. But both coaches can be right, but they're telling you to do two separate things, and boom, now you're stuck. So that's why it's important to have one coach, and you can have other mentors as well. All right, now, when it comes to those things that you have to be willing to give up, or the things that you need to confront, okay, whatever you thought about so far, Let me ask you a question. Would it be worth giving that up for $10,000 a month? It's a great question. Somebody's like, wait a minute. Because the thing that I spend a lot of time on is video games. That's a good question. Do you think you would be willing to give that up for $10,000 a month? You guys get my point? If I go out too much and I'm just spending too much leisure time with people who are like, you know, they're cool, it's cool, it's comfortable, comfort zone, but we just go out and hang out and we drink or whatever, right? Like, would it be willing to give that up for $10,000 a month in financial freedom or whatever your goals are? Okay. So my point is, whatever your goal is or your vision is, and whatever your distractions are, would it be worth giving up the distraction or toxic behavior for that goal or that vision? And again, a lot of you have goals that are way bigger than 10,000 a month. I'm just using that as a baseline. So, but guess what? You cannot conquer what you don't first confront, and you can't confront what you don't first identify. So you have to be willing to confront it. You got to be, well, first identify it. Okay. And then you got to be willing to confront it, and then you can conquer it. I hope this is valuable for you guys so far. And we're almost done with number 2. Okay. Here's the last thing I want to say, actually, on number 2. If you're not willing to change, then that challenge that you're dealing with is going to continue in your life. It's going to continue in your life until you're willing to confront it. Okay. So here's the deal. We're going to go into number 3, and this is the one we'll probably spend the most time on. But now we're getting into manifestation, because that's really the real value of today's workshop. How do I take my idea or my goal and truly manifest it into reality? Tom said it. How do I manifest? How does manifestation really work? How can I manifest on purpose? Have any of you manifested some stuff on accident before? And he was like, "Ooh," the thing happened for you or it showed up. He was like, "Oh, I prayed for this, or I asked for this." So some of us manifest on accident, but don't you think it'd be a lot more fun when you can manifest on purpose? Like you actually learn the laws and principles. Deepak Chopra has a book called 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. That's another book I recommend for you guys. But I want to talk today about how to manifest in 2022 on purpose. Okay. On purpose. I'm so excited for y'all because, you know, again, I just know that this is going to be not only a breakout year, a breakthrough year. I really believe it's going to be a year of miracles for a lot of people. Not just because of this, but I just feel like this is just where we're headed into 2022. So, all right. So stick with me for these. Again, this is deep stuff, but I mean, to go through all this in just 2 hours versus, you know, having to go back to college to learn this stuff, I think, you know, it's a lot better trade-off. All right, so 1 second. Let me do this real quick. Why is this not okay? There we go. I want to move this thing. I got stuff on my screen that's in my way a little bit. All right. So, number 3, success balance scale. Remember we talked about 90% of success is spiritual? So we're going to address those on a deeper level now. The spiritual and physical sides of success. All right. Very, very important. Okay. All right. Hold on, let me see something. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so here we go. Let's get into it. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. I got to start off this portion quoting Napoleon Hill. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. What is desire? Desire is your reasons or your why. Why is it important for you to accomplish that goal? That if that's the starting point of achievement, your desire needs to be strong and it needs to be clear. Now, what desire are we talking about right now? $10,000 a month. Again, you can apply this to the other areas of your life, but for simplicity, we're just applying this principle to $10,000 a month. So desire is the starting point of all achievement. So you have to have a desire. Have you ever desired something? You know what a desire is? You ever heard the song Fire and Desire? No, I'm just playing. Desire, you need to desire it. You can't just kind of want it. Okay, we're going to talk about this a little deeper in just a minute, all right? But, okay. $10,000 a month is what we're referencing. But again, the principles of desire work for any goal. Here's the cool part. Maybe you're past $10,000 a month. The stuff we're talking about right now, it applies to every level of desire. So if your next goal is $10,000 to go from $10,000 a month to maybe your goal is $10,000 a week, it works for that too. And then if it's not, and then if you're already there, then it's $10,000 a day. You guys get my point? The same principles apply. You have to have, it starts with a clear desire of what you want. And a desire means you want it bad. A desire means it goes from a goal that you want to achieve to you have to. All of a sudden, things that usually take up your time, people that, environments, all those things that would typically distract you, usually it's a balance between which one you want more. The challenge is most people want their distractions more than they want their goals. That's the biggest difference. In 2022, there's going to be people who wanted their distractions more than they wanted their goals. And then the year's going to go by and they're going to be in a similar position with the same distractions. Then there's that other group of people. They wanted their goals more than they wanted their distractions. That's the difference. Okay, so flip to a new sheet of paper because we're going to break this down break this down. How do we manifest these goals? Okay. All right, so you got a new sheet of paper. All right. Here's the deal that you need to understand. In order for this to work, your desire has to become an obsession. It has to become an obsession. I know the word obsessed could sometimes be used in a negative sense, but no. I like to quote Grant Cardone. He said, either be obsessed or be average. And obsessed just means you want your goals more than anything else. And if your goals require balance, include balance, then you shouldn't feel bad about it. Now, if you want your financial goal so much that you're willing to sacrifice your family and your values, then that's not healthy. That's not good. But if I want my financial goal so much that it's for my family to never have to go through struggle again, to never have to sleep at the Motel 6 again, to never be homeless again, right? That's an obsession. I want it so bad to go forward that we will never go back. You have to become obsessed about your goals. And now what does obsession look like? That means that your goals has to become the dominating thought that you have. It needs to be the thing you focus on. Napoleon Hill said, you become what you think about all day long. You become what you dwell on. Most people, guess what they're thinking about all day long? The things they don't want, their struggles, their past, and that's what they're attracting more of into their life. So when you get obsessed about your goals, remember we talked about you're seeing it, or we're going to break it all down, but it's the main thing you think about. Now, write this down. We're going to start to transition. We're going to transition to manifestation now. How do we take the goal and then now make it, how do we make it our dominating thought? How do we start again manifesting this goal or this vision? Write this down on a piece of paper. I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 a month by December 2022 in my blank business, or fill in the blank. I am so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month, or whatever your number is, by December 2022 in my blank. And it could be your business or whatever other vehicle. I'm gonna repeat it one more time and I'm gonna break it down. I am so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month by December 2022 in my blank. So let's break this down. What the heck does this mean? Well, first of all, in order for you to be able to attract higher levels of success, you have to operate with a certain level of energy. We like to say high energy equals high income. And we'll explain that more in just a second. One of the highest levels of energy that you can operate on is the spirit of gratitude. So what this is allowing you to do, it's allowing you to put yourself in a position of happiness and gratitude before you earn the money. Why is this important? I always thought that after I get the money, I'm gonna be happy and grateful. Give me the $10,000 a month. I'll show you how happy I am. So I thought happiness and gratitude was a result of success. But then I realized the people that weren't experiencing success were ungrateful and unhappy. And that's why they had a hard time becoming successful. They walk around with an attitude. And so they're repelling success. They're closing doors that could have been open. They're pushing blessings away. They're pushing people away. And if you realize most of your blessings, God sends through other people. So when you're living in a spirit of ungratefulness, you're repelling people, you're repelling opportunities. That pattern is going to continue. So I learned that the opposite is true. Happiness and gratitude is not the result of success. It's required before true success. And then the question now is, how do I become, that doesn't make sense. How do I become happy and grateful while I'm struggling? How do I become happy and grateful before I have success? That doesn't make sense. Well, first of all, it's not supposed to make sense, right? But second of all, that's exactly how you become successful. Stop attaching your happiness and your gratitude to things. As long as your happiness and gratitude is attached to things or money, then you'll always be dissatisfied, number one. Number two, there's always going to be too many more things. So this is why a lot of times when people set the goal and then they get it, they're unhappy anyways, because they attach all their happiness and success and gratitude to things or amount of money, and then they get that amount of money, and then guess what? There's more money that could be made. There's more things out there that they can do or get or buy. And so now, guess what? Their happiness is fleeting. So the way that I learned to become happy and grateful before achieving the next level of success is to focus on the things that I already have to be happy and grateful for. The fact that we made it to 2022 is something we should all be happy and grateful for. Type a 10 in the chat if you agree. That has nothing to do with money. You should be happy and grateful if you have loved ones around you, or if you didn't spend, Christmas or the holidays alone. Like, that's not something to be taken for granted. There's a lot of people who couldn't say the same thing. The fact you woke up today, if you have your family, if you have kids, if you have a place to stay, if you have a job, right? All of these are reasons to be grateful. If you really took out a sheet of paper and took the time to identify the things you have to be grateful for, your bills are paid, you have food in your house. There's a lot of us that went through periods of our life where we didn't have those things. You got a car to drive, right? I'm telling you, there's a long list of things to be grateful for. And when you make the decision to really and truly be grateful for those things, now you're ready to receive the next things. How many of you ever heard the parable of not the sower, the talents? Right? I'm not going to break that down. I don't want to make this like too biblical, but the bottom line is it's about being a good steward of the things you have now. So then you are trustworthy of having more. So guess what that's doing? That affirmation is putting you in a state where you've already received the thing that you're asking for. A lot of us are asking for things that we're not ready to receive, because what we're asking for is contradictive to our state. And our state is unhappy, ungrateful, right? Miserable, down, and so forth. Yes, Troy. Okay? So it's putting you in that position, it's putting you in that state where now you are ready to receive it. Now I can go to this next slide to show you what it looks like. This is showing you the different emotional states that you can be in emotionally. And in the middle is the word boredom, and the top is, positive emotions in the top, and then the bottom is negative emotions, negative states. Here's the challenge with boredom. Boredom is when you are by yourself, just you and your thoughts, nobody else around you. For some of us, if we've been through so much, that can be a dangerous place for us to be in, by ourselves with just us and our thoughts, nobody else around. And this is why it's so important in that one of those 6 areas of life, your social life, to engage with other people, to not push people away. I know a lot of us have been disappointed so many times that we don't know who to trust or how to trust and so forth. Well, sometimes we need to find new people in new environments. Sometimes we've been disappointed multiple times by multiple people. And even though it was multiple people, it was the same kind of people. So sometimes we need to change something about who we're attracting to our life. And the reason why this is important is because guess what? When you are by yourself, you enter this state of boredom. And that is one step away from falling down into these negative states, these negative frequencies. Let me share with you what frequency is, because that's what this chart is really showing you. How many of you have heard things like positive vibes only? A lot of times people say things like that, but they don't really know what that means. So I'm going to break it down to you what it means. So humans are made up of energy, okay? And our energy cells are always moving. How are they moving? They move in vibrations. And your vibrations, how fast they're moving or slow they're moving is the frequency. And the frequency is determining how fast or how slow your vibes are, or how high or how low your vibes are. And this chart on the screen is showing you how to vibrate higher or Be careful of vibrating lower. So on the bottom, you have states and emotions like pessimism, where you always see the glass half empty. You can find the negative thing with the negative potential of anything. You got frustration, if you're just always frustrated, irritated, impatient, doubt, worry, anger, rage, jealousy, hatred, insecurity, guilt, powerlessness. This is why you almost never see a rich hater. Because that state of hating on everybody else, you can't be happy for anybody else. I mean, how can you attract opportunities? And if you do attract opportunities as a hater, then it's not going to last long, because you're shutting all the doors. You're blocking out all the blessings. So those are all the negative states. All the positive states, though, is positivity, contentment, belief, hopefulness, optimism, happiness, enthusiasm, passion, eagerness, love, empowerment, freedom, joy, and of course, gratitude. Right? So look at where my dot is. Here's the problem. A lot of the things that people are asking for are only available in these states up here: joy and freedom, gratitude, love, empowerment, passion, eagerness, happiness, enthusiasm. This is why you have to find a way to be happy now. A lot of us are happy naturally, could be happy naturally, but the people we're spending our time with in the environments we spend our time are not happy. And so we immediately, as soon as we get around them or we get into that space, we fall immediately down to one of these: frustration. I'm irritated, impatient, right? You got anger. You guys get it? This is the conflict right here. The things we want is available. What do I mean by that? Some of you, if it is a money thing, your goal for your next level, let's say it's $1 million. I want to be a millionaire. Guess what? The money's already printed. You're not waiting for the money. It's not like, well, I want to be a millionaire, but they haven't printed the money yet, so it's not available to me. So I'm just going to, no, you're not waiting on the money. The money is out there. It's not only millions available, it's billions available out there. The money, you are not waiting on the money. The money is waiting on you. What is it waiting on you to do? To live consistently at a higher frequency of gratitude, happiness, or higher. And so what happens is when you go after the thing you want and you stay in a higher frequency, in a higher state, and you maintain that spirit of gratitude and happiness, but you take the consistent actions necessary, you are now attracting the thing that you're asking for. The $10,000 a month, it's coming towards you slowly. You might not see it yet. It's the same as when you plant a tree or you plant anything. When you first plant it, you got to put the seed under the soil where you cannot see it. And then faithfully, you have to water and cultivate that seed every single day until you see something physically. So what does that mean? In the beginning, when you're growing that plant or growing that tree, you are doing it out of pure faith. You don't know if anything's growing there. You just believe if you continue to take the right actions, something's going to sprout up and you're going to be able to grow a plant or a tree. That's how it is when you are going after your goals. Success in the beginning is invisible. This is why most people are inconsistent. I don't see results. This is why people say things like, well, when I see it, I'll believe it. You'll never have success if that's what you're waiting for. But guess what? If you stay in these higher frequencies, in these higher states, and you consistently take action, you are attracting the thing that you're asking for. As soon as you drop down below boredom, it starts to repel away from you. So when you're inconsistent, you're attracting it, it's on its way, and then you stop, and then you lower your vibration, and now it's not on its way. It starts moving away from you. And then you go back and you're positive and you're attracting it, and you'll never get to and then another year goes by. It's extremely important for us to understand this. The other thing about these states, for example, if you're down here around anger or rage, jealousy, another one down here is fear, right? Fear is one of the most negative states to be in. And so guess what? You can't be creative and fearful at the same time. A lot of us, the things we're going after, the next goal, the next level requires us to be creative. But we're waking up each day in a state of fear. A lot of times it's because of what's going on in our head. We're watching the news and right, we're engaging in a lot of negative sources. So you're out there trying to be ambitious and creative in a state of fear, right? Insecure, doubt, worry, frustration. Okay. So with that said, this is again why it's important for us to have affirmations. How do we raise our frequency? Write this down. I'm giving you 4 ways to raise your frequency. Write these down. 1, the people you are around have to match the frequency of the thing you want. So people, your associations, that's number 1. People. Number 2, places, your environment, where you spend your time. Does it raise your frequency or lower your frequency? Number 3, what you're feeding your mind. So in other words, books, audios, events, mentors, positive in, positive out. And number 4, affirmations. You feeding your mind. Affirmations. So affirmations are affirmations is when you affirm the future now. So 1 is what we said earlier. I'm so happy and grateful now that I earn $10,000 a month in my blank by December 2022. That's an affirmation. It's positive. And when you continue to repeat these affirmations, it might sound weird, but this is one of the laws of success. You have to program your mind. Guess what? Where you currently are in your life, you were programmed to be there. You were conditioned to be there. Either you did it or somebody else did it. So if where you currently are was conditioned, guess what? Where you're planning on going can be conditioned, but it won't happen on accident. It has to happen on purpose. Think about it this way. How many of you play sports, maybe basketball, if you're an athlete, and that particular day, your first several shots weren't going in, all right? And then you said something like, oh man, I'm off today. And you continue to be off. Coach K is on here, right? Think about it but how many of you had the opposite? The first several shots didn't go in and you corrected yourself by an affirmation, by self-talk. You said, come on, man, I'm way better than this. And then it corrected and then your shots started going in. That's how affirmations work. Here's the problem. You know what's funny when we teach about affirmations and repeating positive things to yourself? A lot of people question if they really work when they don't realize you've been using affirmations your whole life. You were just using them on accident. Every time you say, I am, and you follow it up with something, that's an affirmation. When you say, man, I am so unlucky, and you say that over and over, guess what? You attract more unlucky things. When you say the worst things happen to me, oh my God, I attract the worst people. Oh my God, those are all affirmations. You are speaking those things into existence, especially when you speak them over and over with emotion. That is the key to the affirmation. So if those things got you to where you currently are, guess what? The good news is we can now use them to work for us. And so that's the power of affirmations. The thing about affirmations is they're uncomfortable at first. They're uncomfortable. Because why? You feel like you're lying to yourself. Like, I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 a month by December 22nd in my blank. And then you get your next paycheck, and you're like, whoa, I'm so far away from $10,000. Like this don't look like 10,000. This is some bull. So you feel uncomfortable at first. Some people are like, man, I'm not about to do no affirmation. I'm not about to lie to myself. You're not lying to yourself. An affirmation means you're telling the truth in advance. I have a millionaire mind. It's one from one of my favorite books. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. The book helped change my life. I'm going to share something with y'all. Maybe this will help it make more sense. So we did this together last year. Type a 1 in the chat if you were with us last year. Well, I wrote down my goals and made a dream board and all the things we're talking about. If you're wondering, like, where am I or why it's echoey, and well, one of the first thing I wrote down last year was exactly the house that I'm in right now. Brand new house. This stuff works. When I'm telling you that we use these principles, this house is 22 days old. And I say you got to be specific about the thing that you want. I know y'all thought I was in jail at first. Like, where the heck is he at? The wall behind this one. Let me not speak that to existence. So I am so happy and grateful, right? And it's exactly what we wanted and some. Some of the things I wasn't even thinking about. That came with this move in the surrounding area. So this is the real deal. All right. So yeah, all that echo in here is because there's no furniture. I just got some furniture in today, a little bit. But anyways, thank you everyone. I appreciate you guys, and especially everybody that's been on the journey with us. And it's going to be like I said, a year full of this for everybody that's running with us in the year 2022. So yeah. So let me go ahead and move through the rest of this. All right, so let's go ahead. What is the meaning of desire? We're still on number 3. What is the meaning of desire? So we talked about desire, it's your why, your reasons have to be strong enough. Okay, but let me give you a little more depth. What is the meaning of desire? The meaning of desire is to have a strong feeling of having something. A strong feeling of having it, like I have to have it. Okay? It starts as a thought. It's as simple as that. Remember, we opened up saying the definition of success is the progressive realization of a thought or an idea. So a strong desire, a desire means to have a strong feeling of having something, and desire starts as a thought. But then it has to transfer to thinking. What do I mean by that? A thought is just, you think about it one time. But when it's thinking, that means you're consistent. It's on your mind when you're thinking about it. So it goes from one thought to many thoughts. We're showing you literally how to take your goal or idea and manifest it into reality. So it starts as a goal or a thought. Then it has to turn into many thoughts, which is now you thinking about it. And remember, you become what you dwell on. You become what you think about all day long. And when you're consistently thinking about it, that's when you're obsessed with it. That's when you're obsessed with it. I'm gonna show you guys one of the next goals. There's a lot, of course, we have a lot of goals, and obviously there's balance in our goals and things we're gonna do. Obviously I have goals, everything, my family and everything else. Another thing, speaking of family, that we wanted to get a house. I only wrote down a 5-bedroom house. This one is 6. I was just thinking about the house and what was really inside. I didn't think about, as soon as I open my door, the park is there, and the basketball court, and the lake. But the other thing that was important when we talk about balance is I wanted to get a house big enough where my parents can have no more bills and they can stay with us. All right, so we were just talking about, or before I was cut off, what is the meaning of desire, and how desire means to have a strong feeling of having something. And desire starts as a thought, but then you have to transfer it to thinking, meaning many thoughts, meaning you're thinking about it consistently. And when you're constantly thinking about it, that's when it goes from a thought or a desire to an obsession. When you're constantly thinking about it. And why that's necessary is because the way your brain works, when it's marinating on something and it's always thinking about it, then it starts to create solutions and resources on how to actually make it a reality. But if you just think about it a little bit and then you go get distracted and think about something else, it doesn't give your brain enough time to come up with solutions on how to make it a real thing. So obsession is not a bad thing. Obsession is necessary for manifestation on purpose. Let me ask you a question. Put this in the chat. How often do you think about your job? How many times a day? How many times a week? Really, your job, how much do you think about it? How much is it? Is it something popping up? First of all, if you're there 8 hours a day, you're thinking about it those 8 hours, right? And then even when you're not at work, how many times, right, do you think about your job, right? If you are working, okay? A lot. And guess what that's doing? That's reinforcing your current life. The only difference between somebody who works a job and somebody who's, wealthy or financially free, guess what? They just think about their goals as much as everybody else thinks about their job. Are you obsessed? Right? Are you obsessed about your job? Does that make sense? Is that a bad thing that you think about your job? No, it's not a bad thing. But if you want more, you need to be thinking about something else. So successful people and people who've become financially free, or they've earned $10,000 a month or more, they just think the same amount of thoughts and energy on their goals. That's obsession. So guess what? You have to also structure your environment to where it's always on your mind as well. And we talked about that a little bit. I talked about how, it's important to write them down, put it up where you can see it, look at them at least twice a day, so forth, so on, okay? It's always got to be on your mind. All right, so now we got the thoughts, and now we're thinking about it. It's obsession, it's an obsessive thought, but now the next steps to transferring it to reality. So to transfer your desire to reality, guess what? It requires all 5 senses to be involved. In fact, you'll hear as I break it down. So guess what? When I'm constantly thinking about it, okay, whatever that goal is, guess what I'm doing? I'm constantly seeing it, which is the first sense. If I'm constantly thinking about it, then I'm constantly seeing it. Because I'm seeing it in my brain, in my mind, constantly.
So you got to make sure that you are seeing your goal. And the more you're thinking about it, you're going to keep visualizing it. And there's something I was going to show you all right before I was cut off that I'm going to show you right now. Oh, so I was in the midst. Let me see if I can do it this way. Right before I got cut off, I was in the midst of telling you guys about something. Oh, I was saying I was going to show you another goal that I'm going to be manifesting in 2022. And I'm only showing you. Now, obviously, again, if you know me, you know my goals are about balance and everything and family and everything else. But this one is a little materialistic, but it's what I want on top of all the other goals, right? All right, what do you see right now? Can you guys see on the screen? Anything wrong with this? All right, cool. So I'm showing you this in advance because some of you were here last year when we did this, and you've seen a lot of progress and again, different things, right? So now I'm showing you all that are here this year, not for the sake of me. This isn't about me. This isn't about bragging or anything. I got a lot of friends that do way better than me. It's not about that. It's about me showing you in advance how manifestation works. So when I get it, God forbid, right? I'll be able to, God willing, I should say, not forbid, God willing, then there won't be any surprises. It'll be about the principles. And the same principles I'm using, you can use them too. The only question is, one, are you going to take it serious? And two, are you going to stay consistent in applying them? Okay. So you got to be seeing your goal. And when we think thoughts, our thoughts are translating into pictures anyway. So again, when you're thinking about it over and over, you're seeing your goal, okay? But you got to get clear on the goal. So this goal we're talking about is $10,000 a month. But what if it was a house, a specific house? You got to be specific with it. That the more clear you are on your goal, the easier it will be to see it when you think about it. But if you say, I just want a new car, but you haven't decided what, like every time you think about it, it's a different car. Today it's a blue car, tomorrow it's a red one. Your brain don't know what to focus on, helping you manifest, because you haven't provided your brain clarity to work on. But when you get clear on the car, you say, this kind of car, this year, this color. You guys get it? That's how you start. All right. And then guess what? When you're constantly seeing your desire, it's triggering the feeling of having it. Ooh. Now we're talking about real manifestation. Remember, desire is a strong thought of having something. So when you think it over and over, it triggers the feeling of actually having it already. How do you feel when you have something good and it gets taken away? So when you're thinking about your goal, see, the one reason why people don't work hard enough to get the goal or the desire that they have is because they never had it before, so they don't miss it. But when you become obsessed about something, it's like you already had it because it's in your brain all the time, and you're thinking about all the benefits and how it would feel to have it and how much it would help and how things would change your life. So now it's almost like you had it already, so you have to get it again. That's why when it's a desire, it goes from being a goal to being a mission. Can you all hear me clearly? I'm only asking because it's a little echoing. Uh-oh. All right, you guys. Okay. How was I choppy for a while or just recently? Okay. So I was saying that when you have that goal, you guys can hear me good now, right? Okay, good. So when you have that goal, I said the reason why people don't work hard enough for what they want, say they want, is because they never had it before, so they don't miss it. So it's kind of like, well, if I achieve it, it's cool. If I don't, no worries. I'm used to where I'm at anyways. But when you become obsessed about your desire, your goal, or your vision, and you're thinking about it consistently, it becomes so clear and the feeling becomes so strong, it's almost like you have it or you had it. And so now you fight harder to make it a reality because you've already felt what it's like to have it. So that's why it's important. Now, when you are constantly seeing it, guess what? You're also constantly saying it. Because what you talk about most is what you think about the most. You ever hear somebody that all they can talk about is like their next goal or what they're focused on or their plan or their music project? Like that's all they talk about, right? They're obsessed about it. You have to become like that. Speak it into existence. Speak about, right? Now be careful of speaking about it a lot in front of people who doubt you or hate or, okay? But guess what? This is also why most people's conversation is about their jobs or their circumstances. Have you ever thought about that? Because whatever you think about most, you talk about the most. And most people's conversation, majority of it is about their job or their circumstances. And that's why they keep attracting that over and over and over. You just have to change your focus. Change your focus to the thing that you really want. Okay. Again, all you're really doing is taking the same thing that you've been applying to what you already do and already have and applying it towards your desire. That's it. A lot of us have been using these principles. We've just been using them in the wrong direction. But your mouth is connected to your brain. So if all you're seeing is failure, guess what? Then that's what you'll speak about. And what you speak about is what you bring about. This is why it's so important to be very careful of our associations in our environment. Some people have the hard time with the part I mentioned way earlier about association. Some of you might still be stuck on that. Like, wait, what do you mean? I need to spend less time with the people I love in order for me to get the thing I want? No, that'll make me a sellout. No, I won't make you a sellout. Because if everybody's stuck and nobody's growing, then is that what you want? And in the way my mentor said it, hey, somebody got to be willing to sell out so they can be willing to leave out to put themselves in a position to come back and help out. But if nobody's going to break out and figure out a solution for everybody, then somebody got to be the example. So anyways, here's the other thing. If all you're seeing right now is your current circumstances, then that's what your current success balance scale is. If you don't have a vision, you don't have a vision board, you don't have any goals, you're not putting yourself around more inspiring people, you're not going to new environments that can help, then all you're left to look at is your current circumstances. And that's what you're currently attracting more of. So literally what you speak about will determine the peak of your life. So what should I be speaking about, Billy? I am so happy and grateful now that, right? Fill in the blank. What about when things aren't not going your way? I am so happy and grateful now. What if it doesn't seem like I'm on track? What if I don't know the next move? What if I am so happy and grateful now that you're raising your frequency for you to see things that you didn't notice before and to attract things that you didn't have access to before. That's why that is so important. to put you on that frequency. Okay. Now, so what happens? So you're seeing it, you're saying it. So what happens when you're saying it? Guess what? Now you're hearing it. See how you're engaging all of your senses? Now you're hearing it. Because you're saying it, you're talking about it, you're thinking it. Now you're hearing it. So now it's engaging your ears. Okay. All right. So now that the thing that you started with is just a thought is starting to become something very real. So the main thing is that you have to be staying in what we call alignment. That's what all of this is about. Deciding on what you want, and then you have to stay in alignment with it. A lot of times we have a goal over here to the right, but everything we're doing is to the left. What we're talking about doesn't match the goal. What we're thinking doesn't match the goal. Who we're around doesn't match the goal. The environment doesn't match the goal. What we're feeling, nothing matches the thing that we say that we want. So all you're doing is getting in alignment with the thing that you're saying you want. It has to match. The actions you're taking has to match. Your schedule has to match. It just has to match. Make it make sense. All right, so now you have to touch it. Oh, wait a minute. That's the fourth sense, okay? So now you got to touch, because you're seeing it and you're speaking it and you're hearing it. Now you got to, how do I touch $10,000 a month? All right, well, guess what? The subconscious mind, write this down, does not know the difference between truth or reality. How many of you seen The Secret before? And he talked about taking the money and writing, taking the $10 bill and making, or $1 bill, whatever, and making it a 100. He wrote 100,000. He would touch it every day and he would look at it. The subconscious mind doesn't know the truth of reality. So when you're now saying the affirmation, I am so happy and grateful now, and then you have this $1 bill that you wrote in 10,000, and you're touching it while you're saying it, saying, I am so happy and grateful now that I earned $10,000 a month by December 22nd in my blank business or whatever vehicle. Guess what? Now you're triggering your brain. Every time you pick it up and touch it, it sends a signal reinforcing that desire. Did y'all hear that clearly? Because that was important. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting out. All right. So that's touching it. I'll take you to another level. What about, actually, no, I'll share this on the next one. All right. Okay. So again, you're seeing it, saying it, you're hearing it, touching it. Now you got to smell your goal, your desire. Smell it? How the heck? Yeah, you can smell it. Wait, how do I smell 10,000? No. We're talking about the smells that come along with $10,000 a month or whatever your goal is. I'll give you an example. What are the reasons you want to make $10,000 a month? Like, what would you do with $10,000 a month or whatever your goal is? Okay. What would you do? Would you drive a different car? If so, what does that car look like? But also, what does it smell like? See, it's different looking at a car on the internet or Instagram versus you decided clearly what kind of cars you're in. And it doesn't have to be their Lamborghini when you're starting, right? My goal was just a car in the beginning. Y'all ever had a car repossessed? Anyways. So you start from where you are, but let's say that car is just a new car and maybe it's a Honda Accord, maybe it's a Mercedes, maybe whatever it is, right? So you make the decision. Now it's time to go to the dealership and sit in the car. Now you're feeling the feeling of having the money for it or having the result of the money. And two, you get to smell that new car. So you get to smell it. You know, you go from staying at a motel, you know, if you stayed at a motel and you barely had a budget for that, to now you go stay at a really nice hotel. You'll find the smell is different. Maybe you go visit some dream homes or some model homes. You take in that environment. Don't, take it all in, not just what you see, but what you feel, what you smell, all of that. And so all of this, again, creates the feeling of happy and grateful. Happy and grateful is the frequency, but now is the urgency. Have you noticed in that affirmation, it says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I earn. Ooh. And you know what the word now spells? One. Once you live in a state of happy and grateful, you already won. You don't have it physically yet, but guess what? You've received it already. You've already embraced it. Everybody type now in the chat. All right, let me see. Okay. So 2 last portions and then we'll be wrapped up. So now we talked about the spiritual side to the balance. Now we're going to talk about the physical side. What's included in the physical side? Write this down. Skills. You got to develop the skills required for you to achieve the thing that you're going after. You can't just think your way, and you can't just be spiritual and not do any, work. There's the physical side is required as well. So you got to make sure you have the skills on the physical side. The how-tos, the strategies, right? The techniques, practice. All of those are going to be required on the physical side. All right. Let me see if there's a chance. Oh. Nope. The laptop is not having it. Okay. So guess what though? If your only goal is to make money, guess what? You'll fail. Here's why. Because before you can expect to make the money requires a process. So your commitment can't just be to make money, but your commitment also has to be to learn and grow. Because as soon as you don't get a significant result, but you still have to go through a process, you're going to be like, oh, that's not worth it, because you're going in with the wrong mindset. If you're in a rush to make money, you'll fail. You know why? Because to be in a rush to make money is to be in a state of fear. And guess what? When you're operating in fear, you are not happy and grateful. See the conflict? You have to be willing to go through the process in order to deserve the thing you're asking for. Let me ask you a question. What's more important? Having $10,000 or knowing how to make $10,000 a month? You guys caught the difference, huh? See, so when you're in a rush to get the money with no process, we could give you the 10,000, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You wouldn't know how to keep it. You wouldn't know how to grow it if you never had it before, long term. So the process is what positions you to know how to make it at any time. And this is why people who earn their wealth could lose it and get it right back, because it wasn't handed to them. They didn't take a shortcut. The process is necessary. And guess what? For some, it only takes 6 months. For some, it'll take 9 months, 12 months, 18 months. But guess what? That is the shortcut. Because before, a lot of people didn't even have access to earn that kind of money. Hold on. All right. That is the shortcut. Is that really a lot of time to ask to be locked in on something that can create that kind of result, right? Now, there's a lot of strategies out there, and guess what? They all work. And they all don't work. And the difference is the person that's applying them, because it all comes down to that spiritual side. So again, there's a lot of strategies. You're going to hear from your coach. You're going to hear from mentors and so forth. You can get all the strategies and guidance in the world, but if you don't have the other side, it's not going to work. It's based on your mindset, right? Also, your willingness to fail, because that's the only way to get better. On your way to success, guess what? You're going to have to be willing to be embarrassed at moments. Say you're going to do something and then it doesn't happen. You know, it's part of the process. But you'll be fine as long as you have the mindset strong and the spiritual side strong. So it takes time to develop the skills and the mindset. So you have to respect the process. Now, for closing, I want to see if I can get this back up for you all. There's this last piece that I want to wrap up with, and it's actually something you guys need to see visibly. See if I can see if the my laptop is not feeling me. Okay, let me see if I can do it this way. Okay. So hold on. I know, right? This thing is, let's see, over here. Okay, if not, then I'm going to just give you something to write down for you to be able to get it later. But there's something visual that I wanted to show you, but I can read it still. The fourth basic. So we went through the three of the four basics. One is, who are you listening to in 2022? The next one is, how coachable and teachable are you? Number 3 is the success balance scale between the spiritual and physical sides of success. Okay. And number 4 is faith. Faith. What is faith? It's belief in the unseen, right? So faith is going to be required in order for you to make it through the process. What's going to allow you to stay excited, happy and grateful, and consistent before you get the results? Faith. Okay. So what I wanted to share about faith is, write this down. Faith works through love. That's the foundation. And I'm going to share something with you right now called, write this down and you can look it up later. This is what I wanted to show you on the screen, but it's not showing it. So it's called the self-confidence formula. I was going to say Florida. All right, self-confidence formula. This is Out of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, okay? And it's like once you've established your desire, or what he calls your definite purpose, and you set your goals through those 6 steps goal setting, you support those goals and develop your mindset, develop your confidence through this formula here. Because that is one of the biggest missing pieces out here. Is a lot of people, okay, they go through this process we just went through, they got their goals, they got their desires, okay, got it, cool, but they're not as confident. Like, I know what I want, but maybe they lack the confidence. And so I'm going to go through this with you right now. There's 5 parts to the self-confidence formula. The first part says, don't worry about seeing it. You'll have access to this replay, and also you can pull up the self-confidence formula on Google after. So it's not that challenging to find this. But the key, okay, so it says, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose or my desire in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. In other words, I'm willing to trade action for the thing I'm asking for, okay? So I have the ability to achieve my desire. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment. And I here now promise to render such action. All right, here's the second part of the formula. I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves outward, physical action, and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. That's important. So I've already decided to, that I have the ability to attain my desire, and that I'm willing to take the necessary actions. Now, the second part is talking about, I realize that my thoughts will eventually reproduce themselves into physical reality, but it's going to require me to become the person that I have to be in order to achieve the goal. So remember, success isn't something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. Third, I know through the principle of auto-suggestion and desire, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Think about that. I know through the principle of auto-suggestion. So another word for auto-suggestion is affirmations. So I know through affirmations, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I devote 10 minutes daily to demanding myself the development of self-confidence through affirmations. It's Napoleon Hill, not Billy Scott. Okay. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim, which is my purpose, my desire. in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Number 5, I fully realize no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? Because I'm almost done. All right. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity. Because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become self-reliant and a successful person. That is the self-confidence formula. And the last thing I want to mention, it's on a slide, but not on the screen, is forgiveness. I highlighted this earlier, but I want to close with this part. And I'll actually close. Let me see, I can actually. The part that I highlighted earlier was that you cannot move forward, cannot have a healthy future with an attachment. Still choppy? Okay, it's probably because I put it on the screen. Okay, is it still choppy now? All right, that's what it was. So you cannot expect to have a healthy future with an attachment to a negative past. And a lot of us are holding on to emotions that are doing two things. It's keeping us stuck because every time we revisit it, even if it's just mentally, when we think about it, it's bringing us back to our past, or we're attached to something that every time we think about it or we get triggered by it, it lowers our frequency. By the way, confession, I used to stay in a low frequency. I was super ambitious. I had the work ethic, I had the skills, but I was always mad. And part of it was because, the environment I came from, we don't, grudges are forever. If it's up, then it's stuck. That's just kind of, right? So I was always ready to fight people. Just like, if you disrespected me, like, no, it's lit, right? I was mad, like, don't disrespect me. Like, some of y'all know what I'm talking about, like. And it was only holding me back, right? Some of us got some people that were working so hard to prove wrong that when we think about it, it lowers our state. So it's actually working against us. Because we're coming from a state of retaliation almost. So I think the best thing you can do is forgive coming into this new year, 2022. More for you than it is for them. Forgiveness is not only powerful, but is necessary. And truly forgive, not just surface level. Sometimes we can forgive from a state of they probably didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know any better. If it was another person involved when I say forgiveness, right? Or sometimes we have to just forgive from a state of, hey, that person got what they got coming, whether I do something about it or not. Because if they continue to live like they're living or do what they're doing, then they're going to get what they got coming. So I don't have to be the person to hold any resentment. Does that make sense? Because some of us have been holding on to it for so long because of what it did to us or how it made us feel. And some of us don't want to let it go unless we can make them feel that too. But the truth is, if they continue to just live like they've been living, karma will take care of that. But as long as you keep holding on to it, you're like that guy on one side of the door, seeing all of the blessings on the other side of the door, but you cannot go through the door because you keep holding on to things from your past. Sometimes the thing that we haven't been willing to forgive was also a part of our story for other people that have been through the same thing. A lot of times our past is our power. That's where our power is. But we've been looking at it the wrong way. We've been looking at it as a reason not to succeed and move forward or level up. So, you cannot conquer what you don't first confront, and you can't confront what you don't first identify. So, that forgiveness might be a path. It might be a person, or sometimes the past is just a sense of completion that's holding us back. It might not just be a person. Sometimes it's just a thing that's keeping us in our past. But you got to learn to complete the past so you can move forward in a healthy way to your future and the things you're asking for. So I hope you all got value. 2022 it could be the most amazing year, not only for you, but those that are coming behind you. I don't just speak for what I want for you. I speak for your legacy. I don't just want you to grow for you in 2022. I want you to grow for the person you need to become because your children are looking at you. I see a lot of times we tell our kids never give up on your dreams, but they're going to follow what we do. So if we gave up on our dreams, how can we expect them to stick to theirs? So this was way bigger than just you. This wasn't even just about planting seeds. This was about planting orchards. My mentor would say a long time ago, Billy, how many apples are in a tree? Right? And if you sit there long enough, you can count that number. It might be 100, 200 apples in a tree. But then he said, Billy, how many trees are in an apple? And the number's unlimited because that one apple has so many seeds that if those are grown, those become trees with more apples, with more seeds that can then become more trees. So you getting this information today was way bigger than just you getting it for you and your goals. This is about stuff you can pass on for generations to come, people who come along your path, but make sure you pay it forward. So thank you guys. Again, I hope you got the value you came for in 2.5 hours. I hope that 2.5 hours was an investment that gives you a return for the whole 12 months. And this was recorded. It was broken up into 2 recordings because I got kicked off, but we will put those 2 recordings together. We'll get it up on YouTube, hopefully by tomorrow. And I'll put the link out there. You can get it from whoever invited you on. And appreciate you guys coming on with us. I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions or comments before we go. Let me see. I think you all can feel free to unmute now, or I don't know. Let me see. Wow. There we go. All right. Feel free to unmute yourself if you had any questions or anything, and then or comments before we go. Just take a few, three to five maybe, and we'll go ahead and wrap up soon. You're welcome, everyone.
Billy, I'd like to say thank you so much. This was definitely, it's like you rocked my soul with this and really, stirred up some things in myself that I need to let go and need to really focus on. So for that reason alone, I appreciate everything that you do and how well you serve us. So thank you so much, Billy.
You're welcome. Thank you, Felicia. Glad you, yeah, definitely glad it helped. And, thank you for starting the year off with us.
Hey, Billy, Cynthia Martinez here. I wanted to tell you that I am so grateful for your leadership. I'm so thankful I get to be here today. You really got me, especially with the holding on. Grudges, you never think that you're holding a grudge. And in hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to let that go, work through it. So thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad you made it on. You're welcome.
Okay, you are a CEO and a pastor, Billy. I appreciate you. I've had corporate training that cost about $2,000 per person. So this is just awesome that you take your time to do this for everyone. And I'm glad I stuck it out, and I just appreciate you. And I'm like, I wish I had the problems he had over there with the new house and can't get it up, like that. But I appreciate you. I'm praising God for you, and I will tune in every time I see you. So thank you very much.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I received that. And again, just apply these principles, and it's way bigger things waiting for all of us. This is just the beginning for all of us. So appreciate you guys. And so, yeah, I'm gonna send an invoice to everybody, $2,000. She said, right? I'm just playing.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just kidding. If anything, y'all could support the CEO Grind merch stuff and get some gear there. But no, this was free, and just wanted to make it available to everybody to win.
Hey Billy, can you say the link or the website for the merch again, please?
Oh, just CEOgrind.com.
Thank you so much for this. Congratulations on your success, the new house. Can't wait to see you next week in Dallas, doing it a little bit different. I think I shared that with you in serving our agents, our business partners. So thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for not only being a mentor, but you are my coach, whether you knew it or not.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. I'll see you in Dallas. See you soon.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Tracy.
Hey,
all right. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
What's happening, man?
Waukegan, Illinois in the building. What's up, guys?
Appreciate it. Hey, I want to give it back to you, man. Congratulations on your success, the house. You're doing amazing things, and just wanted to kind of hit on what you were saying. The self-accountability is everything. Getting on these trainings and the mentorship, the mindset. We weren't able to make it on. I actually got Johnny back here with me.
I see him. What's up, Johnny?
So just wanted to shout him out. This has been his year anniversary on with the company. He's been doing amazing things, and self-accountability is everything. And like I said, I just want to give it back to you for supplying us with the knowledge every day and every week. So appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. See y'all in Dallas, and definitely big things. Congrats on 1 year though, man. That's big. 1 year down on a 2 to 5 year plan. 2022, we're about to 10x everything. So look forward to it.
Blessings.
Yes, sir. All right. Anybody else before we wrap up?
I wanted to say thank you, Billy, I'm speechless over here because it's something that changed my life 2 years ago. And I know it's about to just being able to go ahead and bless it forward. So the biggest thing that I just wanted to say thank you for is things that I thought that I was okay with. but then you mentioned identify it, confront it, and conquer it. And so I just want to say you allowed me to have a breakthrough tonight. And I know many of us, but thank you for all you do. Like, we appreciate you. So
thank you, Adriana, for sharing. And and you were on last year, and again, that shows the power of staying locked in on the journey. That, you know what I mean, you still got a lot of value today, or this year. And plus, I've grown, right? I've grown since a year ago, so I could do the same workshop next year, but the value is going to be different based on more wisdom that I've acquired from my experience and helping others. So thank you for coming on. Big things 2022.
Thank you, Billy. I just want to say thank you. I literally manifested this training. Yes.
I just saw that in the chat. That is so awesome. I love it.
Yes. See you in Dallas, you guys.
Yes. See you this week. See you in Dallas. Awesome. Well, look, guys, again, I appreciate you all taking the time. I did not want to go this long, but we're already approaching 7 o'clock here Pacific, but I'll go ahead and get this recording out, and then just stay tuned. I'll put it out to our partners that are on here with us, as well as I'll put it up, I guess, on Instagram, the link, and make sure that everybody has access to it. But do the work. Take those action steps that you got. Take 3, 4, 5 of those things that you can apply right away, and start the work now. Don't procrastinate. Get started on your plan now. Do little steps at a time, and that's what will compound into a big year in 2022. So thanks, you guys, for again joining me. Stay tuned throughout the year for some of the other things that we will be doing, and look forward to seeing you guys over the time. Also, let me know about your progress. Let me know about the things you're manifesting. I want to hear about that. So don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. So you guys have a good one, and see you over the top. Blessings in 2022.